Um, Hello, everyone, and good evening to everyone on the call. It's nice to have everyone here with us this evening, and it's this session promised to be a very great one. And as we all know, exam is something that every student must do. Examination is something every student must do, regardless of the level, regardless of the course, and regardless of the department. You must write an exam. Yeah. So tonight we have a very interesting topic at hand, and that's managing examination pressure and performing at your best. So it's going to be an interactive session, anyways. So we should feel free to we should actually feel free to ask our questions, and we should feel free to enjoy the session. So because this is a very practical something, we'll be taking some questions, and I would like you to, if you have any question, just drop them on the chat box, and just drop them at any time, and we are going to be addressing your questions specifically. Yeah. If you can hear me loud and clear, so kindly give a love emoji, a love reaction, so I'll know you are with us. Or you can drop your chat in the comments, like, yeah, I'm with you, sir, something like that, as we start properly. Yeah. All right. I can see that already. Okay. Um we have some few the moderator in person of Ayodele Ipiripolu has actually come up with very great questions for me tonight. By the way, my name is Emmanuel Lowe, and I'm a graduate intern at Chevron, and it would be nice answering these questions. So, um, just a minute. All right. Just to give you a little background of myself, I I am a petroleum engineering graduate from the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, and I know this session is meant for every student, regardless of the school, yeah, and regardless of the department, regardless of the college or whatsoever we have. Yeah, and based on my experience, my school experience, and what I've learned personally in the academic journey. Yeah, I'll be sharing my answers to these seasoned questions that has been pulled up by the moderator. Yeah. So the first question that I have here, that the moderator has pulled out, that I have with me, is what exactly is examination pressure? Is it fear, lack of preparation, or something deeper? Well, actually, I want to say that examination pressure is not just one thing, as a matter of fact. So, examination pressure is a mental and emotional tension students experience when they feel their performance will determine important outcomes. like their grades, promotions, scholarships, and in this case, examination. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say in essence is that examination pressure comes from a mental and emotional tension when students know that their performance will be evaluated. So in essence, the short answer to what I'm saying or to the question is that examination pressure comes from the fact that students know that their performance will actually give them a result. And because of that, nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to. Of course, if I ask if I ask every participant here, how many of you want to have it? How many of you want to have a C? I'm not even talking of F. Of course, nobody wants to have a C, talk less of having a F in their grades. So students know that at the end of the semester or probably at the end of the session, they will actually get a result from the exams they've written. Because of that, the fear builds up in them, and you see the tension, you see the fear. Oh, I don't want to fail. I don't want to. Because of that, the tension builds up. So that is what examination pressure is actually about. But then the pressure becomes much when a student have not prepared adequately for an exam. For students that have prepared, yeah, it's the question, the tension is usually, it's usually minimal. Although you may still feel it, you might not totally take it out. You may still feel it, but then it's very minimal compared to those that have not prepared. Yeah, so that is actually my answer to that. Okay. Um, the next question the moderator have here is why do some very intelligent students suddenly perform below their capacity during exams? Um, well, this is a very good question, anyways. The thing about examination is that examination is not just about intelligence. Examination is not just about intelligence. Examination, it it's apart from reading, you also need strategy, and at the same time, you need to condition your body or your brain to what you are going to be feeling in the exam. So that one is intelligent, and it does not is performing below capacity during exam is not tied to the intelligence alone. So many intelligent students actually struggle during exam because of poor exam strategy. That's one. What do I mean by this? Take for instance, you have probably your timetable. On your timetable, you have like let's say three you have three papers in a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Monday, let's say let's just give it a rough estimate. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yeah, so that essentially means that you have just one reading space in between these days. That's technically, if you are doing having exam Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have Tuesday free and Thursday free. So that's a short space to revise each courses. So you might be intelligent, but if you don't have good exam strategy, you might actually fail. So, if an example of bad exam strategy is when someone have, just in the instance I've given, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have papers then, and then you went ahead and you were revising the paper that you have in the next week, like in the next 2 weeks, not the one you have now. Feeling that okay, because I'm intelligent, maybe a night before I can do my revision and pass. Yeah. So, well, this is not a cast on stone for everything, but what I'm trying to say in essence is know your condition. Of course, I do not know your condition. You know your condition best. Know your condition and know how best to strategize your reading to fit into this. Give yourself adequate revision time before an exam. If you don't do that, you might like, even though you've been reading from the beginning of the semester, because your brain is not a computer, you might actually fail that course, or you might perform below. Yeah, you might necessarily not fail. Sorry, you might necessarily not fail, but you might perform below your expectations if you do not have adequate time to revise. So plan yourself very well, and what will influence your planning is the time you have before exams, the periods you have before a particular exam. And what that means is, like, what will determine that is your timetable. Yeah, so please work with your timetable. That's one. Intelligent students perform below their capacity because of examination fear, because of lack of examination strategy. That's one. Two is anxiety. Yeah, that some are very intelligent. That's right. But then because their hopes are too high, like, okay, I want to have a 95 over 100. I want to have a 98. That is fine. That is very good. That is absolutely nice. But then if you focus too much on these high hopes, and then it's like, oh, if I don't get it, then I'm going to die. If I don't get it, then I'm going to commit suicide. If I don't get it, then the world is coming to an end. This will make you afraid, and this will just pile up tension in you, and because of that, you become unnecessarily afraid. If you had calmed down in the first place, you would have performed very well. So because of that, and some persons also do it because of competition. Yeah, of course we understand. Everybody wants to have a high grade. Everybody wants to stay on top. The competition is quite real, but do not put all of this. Do not accumulate all of this in your mind. Yeah, know how to shed out these thoughts so you don't get overwhelmed with that. Yeah. So that is actually that about that. And the next question the moderator have here is pressure always negative, or can it actually improve performance if handled properly? Well, the short and direct answer to this is pressure is not always negative. Psychologists even say that a little pressure sharpens performance, but too much pressure can destroy your performance, as a matter of fact. So, pressure in itself is not always negative. Yeah. So, if you have, well, if you don't, if there are no pressure, if there are no tension to study, you will definitely not see the reason to carry your books and read, because there are a lot of distractions nowadays. So, but if there's a little tension, if there is a little pressure, if there's a little push, well, should I call it tension or pressure? Well, in this context, we can call it that. We can call it pressure. But I would say, permit me to use the word motivation, or there's a push. Yeah. What pushes you? Of course, that's your motivation. And what motivates you? That's the fact that you need to have a good result. So that actually has its own benefit on its own. So yeah, to give a direct answer to the question here, yeah, pressure is not always negative. Yeah, there are positive sides to this. So it actually pushes you to go beyond your boundaries. Go, like, take for instance, of course, if you know you have an exam next tomorrow, all hands needs to be on deck. You can't be going to, like, play football. Even at all by chance you play football, you can't do more than 2 hours or even 1 hour at the most. Why? Because the tension is there. Oh boy, I get exam tomorrow. I get exam next tomorrow. That's what every student does. Yeah. That by default, you don't need anyone to tell you or to motivate you that you should read, because there's something ahead of you. So pressure is not always negative. It pushes you above your beyond your what's it called, beyond your boundaries, to prepare very hard for what you should prepare for. Yeah. As we earlier said, if you have any question, probably different from all this that the moderator have piled up, you can drop them in the comment section. As a matter of fact, we are going to treat that after this sets of questions. And okay, another question the moderator have here is, from your experience, from your experience, what separates students who consistently score high from those who struggle? Okay. Like, what separates students who consistently score high from those who struggle? Well, as a matter of fact, when we say students who consistently score high, permit me to say, and it might be shocking to you, that scoring high is not only a matter of your intelligence. What I'm trying to say in essence is that you might not be you might not be very intelligent, and you will still score very high. Yeah. If you can master, every system have their own structure. So if you can master the structure of your school, you might not be very intelligent student, and you can be scoring very high. You can be having the A grades. Yeah. And how do you do this? One is, as I said, understand the structure, the system. Understand the structure, understand the system. What do I mean by this? There are some, you know, take for instance, you are doing up to 8 courses, 7 courses, or 10 courses, as the case may be. That that's the beginning of understanding the structure. Okay, yeah, you have 10 courses to handle. Now, each lecturer, there are some schools that their lecturers, they don't stress themselves too much. They just go to the past question for the last set, do some little editing, and reproduce them for the current set. So if you understand the structure, of course, the lecturers might not be the same across board for your courses, but understand your lecturer, know his structure, know the way he sets questions. So if you know the probably, okay, this lecturer is someone that he loves setting past question, that is fine. But mind you, I'm not saying just off from the beginning of the semester till your exam date, just go and be studying past questions alone. No, I'm not saying that. Yeah, but you should give priority to knowing your past questions. That is, know them at the tip of your finger. Yeah, so that is from experience. Yeah, so know that at the tip of your finger. What I'm trying to say is that when you know that your lecturer is setting past question, of course your number one priority is to first of all know your past question at the tip of your finger. So then after that, don't limit yourself only to that, because you know we are all humans and anything can change at any time. So still go a step further, or still go miles further self, not only a step, to having a general understanding of what the course is and a deeper understanding of what each topic is. So so the thing is, yeah, you are studying for your exam and you are studying to become whatsoever your course, whatsoever you need to in your course. What I'm trying to say is, okay, take for instance, for me, I study petroleum engineering. I in school, if take for instance in school, I'm expected to study for my exams. You have to pass my exam, and at the same time, study to have understanding as a petroleum engineer. So then, apart from besides past questions, still go miles further to understanding those courses, because believe you me, when you graduate, these things will help you beyond exams. Yeah, so you are looking at beyond exams and for exams. So those are the two case scenarios. So yeah, that's what I mean by understanding the structure. So if you understand the structure, you can actually go far, score high. And beside this, there are some lecturers that theirs might not be past questions. Theirs might be, they love to test your intelligence, and they go beyond what they give you in their materials or in their handouts. So go like undo each lecturers and undo each lecturer rather, and undo each courses the way they are structured. So yeah, so understand your lecturers, understand the courses, and know how to attempt them. So back to what I said, you don't need to be the most intelligent. You don't even need to, you might just be averagely intelligent. You might not mind you, you might not even be so much of an intelligent person, and you can still score high if you understand the structure and you can apply uh, this principle. So when you know what each courses or what each lecturer wants, then go 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 for it. Like, go in that direction. For lecturers that don't set past question, read to till you understand that course, and go ahead. You can go for tutorials if you are not understanding, and ask someone to teach you. So and at the same time, there are some courses that it's just reading. Now, for some of all those reading question courses, you need to, you may, some lecturers might like you that you explain in your own words, while some like you to give them word for word. So that's what I mean. So if probably for a course that the lecturer um uh wants, does not really care about you answering word for word, yeah, you have the leverage of, if at all I don't know this thing word for word, I can still pass. So that will allow you to study other courses that you feel are more difficult for you. So that's just, you need to understand yourself, understand the structure, and work in line with that. Yeah. So Back to our question. What separates I student from those who struggle? So one is understanding the structure. So it's not just only about, you might be intelligent and you might have a very bad understanding of the structure and then you fail overly, or and at the same time you might be intelligent and you might lack proper planning. Yeah. So one is understanding the structure. Two is having lacking proper planning. Yeah, lacking proper planning. That's two. You should be able to plan out yourself. You know, this actually, this time will not permit us to address all these questions. You know, if we should spend 30 minutes on each of the questions, I doubt if it will be enough, because this is something happening, this is something affecting every student in every class you may be or level you may be. Yeah. And these things are personality based. So everybody have what works for them, and everybody have their their hard nuts. Okay, this is what is hard for me, this is where I'm having issues, and what have you. So but then, as much as I we can on the call or in this session, we try as much as possible to cover up on the question. So yeah, I said understand the structure. Two, have a proper planning. And three, I will just end it. Uh, I will just end it. I will end it in four. So the third one is that you should start preparations early. You might be very intelligent, and that happens to a lot of students on campus. They are very bright people, like they are intelligent students, but then they start preparation very late. And so some persons, it might just be 1 week before exam. That's when they dust their book and say, and they start reading and they want to cover everything. The person that even wrote the book, or the person that even, I'm not talking about your lecturer, like the person that wrote the book, you are yeah, it might be your lecturer in your own case if it's an handout, depending on the case it is. But the people that wrote these textbooks and handouts, they did not use a day or a week to write it. Some actually spent a year. Some it's even their life. It was even their lifetime. Like they've reached some certain age before they could gather all this knowledge together and bring it out as a book. And you as a student, because you're having an exam in 1 week, you want to like digest everything under 1 week. And then it's not just only one. You have like 10 courses. This thing is not possible, no matter how intelligent you are. So that's why some persons call you. They are very intelligent, but they start very, very late. Yeah. And the fourth thing, I said I'm going to stop at four. The fourth thing is that some people do not have consistent study habits. Like they read today and tomorrow they don't. So take for instance, I read a course today, and then before I read it up again, it's like in the next 2 weeks. Probability are, or chances are, that I will have to first go back and revise what I've read 2 weeks ago, just to be able to catch up and start reading on, just to be able to continue reading. So I don't know if you're understanding. So the thing is, people lack consistent reading habit. They read today, and then the next time they will read again is after 1 month. They say exam is not yet here. Believe you me, all that you've read, regardless of the hours you spent there, you might actually have to go back to to freshen up before you can start reading. So if you have consistent reading habits, your reading is not after a month or after a week. It's your brain is going to catch up with that. Yeah. So because of our time, I would like to move to the next question the moderator have, and said, is reading long hours the key to success, or is there a smarter strategy students can adopt? Yeah. So this is a very good question. Actually, reading long hours is not only the key to success. Yeah. So it's not only the key to success. So the thing the thing is this, the as I said earlier, these things are what is happening to everyone, and there is no one benchmark, or let's say marking ground, to say this is just only what you should do. They are in two sides. If you read for long, it's definitely going to help you. Personally, for me, I like reading for long. Like at least I have good number of hours to study for long, because when I study for long, I have the deep understanding of what I'm reading, not just only reading to pass. Yeah. So if one wants to actually get a deep understanding of what he's reading, he definitely needs to read for long. Yeah. So, but now that is not only the key to success. Why do I say that? Is this, many students, I believe people on the call can relate, or or Anyone listening to me can relate as far as you've passed through the 4 walks of the university or you are still in the university. When it is 1 week to exam, you see night classes are usually flooded. Or probably your friend that plays football all throughout the session, that's when you now start messaging you, ah, oh boy, I beg, I go like come sleep for your house today. And you be like, after all this while, you've not been sleeping in my house. Why do you want to all of a sudden start sleeping in my house? Why? Because he knows if he does not take action at that time, 1 week to exam, he knows he's going to fail woefully. Although at that time it's already late. Yeah, so then you see people in night classes, people in their friends' place, people in groups trying to crack the nuts that they've not cracked since the beginning of the semester. So at that time, at that point, reading for long is not actually the ideal way to probably give you success because you started late. But though you don't have any choice than to still read for long. But then it's not an ideal way to give you success. So you might read for long day and you might still not have your the best of grades because you did not start early. Yeah, so that's that about that. And two now, if you are reading for long, it's not only about the hours that you spend reading. It's about are you focused? Are you concentrated in what you are reading? Like, are you gaining something? Some people persons might sit down there for hours trying to impress someone else. Some persons might sit down there for hours and they are taking it as a competition. Like, okay, so that when I get back to the hostel, people can say, oh, Efiko, Mr. Read Lord. But then they are not actually gaining anything. Some you might see them probably reading on their screen, on their system, on their cell phones, or reading any material or handout, but then their mind is very far from what they are reading. And because of that, they stand up still empty. So that is it. So when you are reading for long, please read for be focused and read and be gaining something. So even though you are focused and then you are not really gaining something, it's fine if you ask for help. You can ask your friend for help, you can ask any person taking tutorial for help, so that your reading for long will be productive. Your reading for long will not be a waste. Yeah, you have a good result from there. Yeah, so and another thing I want to recommend is if you are reading for long, apart from the fact that you should please be understand the concept, understand what you are reading, because it's not just only to read for long. Yeah. So have a good understanding of what you are reading. One. Two, in your so-called reading for long, please try and practice, test yourself. That's the general word. So what do I mean by this is after you've read for long or maybe for some hours, try and test your brain. And what do I mean by that? Ask yourself question meditatively. It will really help you and it will compensate your reading for long. That is, it will make your reading for long a a good one. Yeah, that's the word to use. Yeah. So reading for long hours is not only the guarantee for success, but test yourself, make sure you are understanding the concept, and be 100% focused. You and I know many things that can distract you. Now, especially for students in higher levels, most people read with their screens, their cell phones or their laptops. And the rate at which distractions are flying everywhere now, I know we both understand what I'm talking about. So if you don't discipline yourself and you are reading on your screen, you might just from one notification go to 1 hour, 2 hours of marathon social media distraction. So, and people, come on, people seeing you sitting there, they will think you are still reading, but whereas it is not what it is. Yeah, so it's very good. Reading for long is something I personally like. Yeah, but make sure you are getting what you're reading, make sure you are fully focused, and make sure you you are not distracted. Yeah, so if you do that, of course I can recommend reading for long. Yeah, that would be it. But if you feel like there are some persons that gets things very fast, they may do 3 hours and they are fine. Like they are fine. They might go to the hostel, relax, get something to eat, and probably at night do another 3 hours again. Why some might be like you need to do 6 hours stretch or 7 hours stretch. So just know yourself. But in all, make sure you have adequate reading. And when I say adequate reading, I don't mean 2 hours reading. I don't even mean 3 hours reading. As a matter of fact, I might not even be meaning 4 hours reading. Go as far as you can go, as far as 7, 8 hours. But then you can section it, maybe 2 hours now, 3 hours then, 4 hours now, like that. Especially now that you know your exams are near, and it will really help you. But please, in whole, I'm not saying read and kill yourself. No, I'm not saying that. Yeah, some persons get things very fast. Like they might just do 3 hours now and 2 hours later, and then they are fine. Yeah, so but in generally, reading for long, when you are concentrated, when you are focused, away from distraction, when you are understanding, and when you are testing yourself, it's a very good thing to do. Yeah. Okay. How should a student prepare differently 1 month before exam versus 1 week before exam? Yeah. I believe this is a very practical question. So 1 month before exam, well, let me generalize it and say, how should a student prepare effectively before exam and when you are close to exam? So let me put it that way. So before exam, it is expected that before exam, read to have it. Before exam is just like your foundation stage. So at that point, read to have understanding. Read to have understanding. That's what I usually advise people. So before your exams, make sure that you are reading for understanding sake. Not that you are already you're already reading in tension or in pressure that, oh, your exam is in 1 week. So please read for understanding. Read to understand the concept. Read to understand such that hands free, like without the material, you know what the material is talking about. Yeah, so that is it. I'm trying to be a bit faster because of our time. So read to understand, gain concept about what the topic is talking about, and then before exams is near, read and cover the whole syllabus, the necessary syllabus. Yeah, why I say necessary is some persons read out of the box and the lecturer is not talking about it, the course content is not talking about it, and the lecturer does not have the tendency of certain things are outside. Of course, no knowledge gain is a waste. But because you are handling like up to 10 courses and you don't have all the luxury of time around, like somebody, take for instance, somebody doing a 100 level physics, and then is going ahead to, because of he wants to pass exams, going ahead to read PhD level topics. I understand that, yeah, we know the Nigerian factor that, okay, sometimes they might set beyond what they actually, the lecturers might set beyond what they actually thought. But then first focus on what he thought first. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say in essence is 1 month before exam, read for understanding and read to cover every necessary topic. Read to please cover every necessary topic, because by so doing, you are balanced. It will ease the tension when it's 1 week to exam. So now when it's 1 week to exam, permit me to say that, yeah, you are still reading for understanding, but now you are reading for a specific something. So that's for your exam. So there are some courses that, yeah, of course, especially calculation courses, yeah, you need to understand the process, the procedures for you to be able to solve them. Why there are some that you need to actually use the right word. So in that, you obviously you need to memorize them. Yeah, you need to memorize them. And if I want to use the local words, or the if I want to be very blunt, I would say you need to cram them. Yeah, if I want to be very blunt. So there are some things you actually need to cram, like formulas, like things word for word, uh, uh, like things and things like that. Like cramming a definition so that you can have a perfect score. It's not bad. But when all you are doing all throughout all the courses is just cramming, 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 mind you are going to be worn out. Yeah. Yeah. So that's that about that. So when it comes to when it's 1 week to exam, now you are revising. Now you are studying, reviewing past questions. Now you are memorizing the things that need to be memorized, because it's 1 week. If you memorize it now, of course you should still remember before the exam day. Yeah, not like it's 1 month to come. Yeah. So very quickly, I'll go to the next question. How can students effectively manage multiple difficult courses without feeling overwhelmed? Um, Sorry, just a minute. I'm seeing some comments in the session. Well, I'm trying to get a comment in the session, but um, says, "Do you mean what this life academic class is about?" I did not really get that, but I want to believe I answered the question before now. So, how can students effectively manage multiple difficult courses without feeling overwhelmed? Well, this is a very good question because every student at every point handles one course or the other that seems difficult, or some even at all they are not difficult, they are technical, and you can't just sleep over them. Yeah. So, for multiple different courses, first of all, I will start by saying early preparation is cannot be overemphasized. You need to prepare very early. Yeah, like you need to start reading at the very at an early stage or at an early start of the semester. Yeah, so that is one. Two is that you should be very organized, and you should plan yourself very well. So, what do I mean by this? Getting a timetable is something that can help you a lot. So now you have, apart from the fact, let me add to this. Apart from the fact that you have difficult courses, apart from the fact that you have difficult courses, um, you also have some courses that they are not only difficult, but their units alone. If you have a B in that course, it can drag your GP very low. There are some courses that are like that. So if you are handling, like, take for instance, four units course, you have one 4 units course, it has a very big unit and it is still difficult, or let's say it is technical, and you have up to like 2 3 unit courses that are also technical. Apart from that, you now have like four 2 unit courses and probably a 1 unit course. You know, you need to be well prepared for you to have good grades in these courses. Yeah. So now to handle them is this. I said you need to have a good timetable. And what do I mean by this? Look at your exams. So because, yeah, we are a bit focused on, although we are trying to take the general condition, but at the same time we are narrowing down to exam period, because that's our main focus in this live session. Probably the moderator might want to organize another session to address any focus area. That's fine, but yeah, we are narrowing down to exam session more specifically. So now, in an exam setting now, if you have been reading earlier before now, that's a very good thing. Yeah. Coming down to probably a month to exam, or few days, or few weeks to exam, you should know, even before few weeks, you should have a timetable, as I was saying earlier. Yeah. So you should have a timetable that we organize these courses effectively. Now, you might probably assign 2 days to a 4 unit course. Okay, I want to read this course for 2 days, but I want to read for a day, then I'll switch to another course. It all depends on your capacity. Yeah, but one general rule is this: as you are reading a technical, probably you are spending long hours on a technical course, or, to use the word used here in the question, on a difficult course. You might want to switch. You might want to change it after you are done with maybe long hours of reading a difficult course. You might want to take a simpler course just to compensate. If you do that, there's a way the brain works that, yeah, it will be able to manage them very effectively. And then you will feel a little bit lighter. Then you go back to it again. Yeah, or if you don't do it that way, you might actually take a course now, probably the 4 unit course, and then you take another course again tomorrow, regardless of if difficult or not. That's still another way to do it. So if you do it that way, the way the body works is this, and the way the brain and body works psychologically is this. If you are doing something difficult, like, the body wants rest. So if you play the game with your body by bringing in a less difficult course, yeah, the body is happy and it adjusts very well. Then you can go back again to the difficult course and you fire on. So that's it. But yeah, but then, of course, might not always be lighter course, as I said, less difficult course, as I said. You might interswitch with another course so that you can have a different feel. That way, it aids your understanding too. Yeah, it's just like you are contrasting ideas. It makes the brain get it I don't know. I believe you are trying to understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that concept makes your brain, understand something when you are not just tasking it with a particular difficult course. Yeah. So have a timetable, and you can switch in between courses. And two, and the three too is that another point rather is that you should not feel ashamed, or uh don't be don't feel too big to go to ask for help. You know, if you have difficult courses, mind you, if you have difficult courses and you have a friend that have read it, if you tell the friend to explain to you, regardless of if you have time or not, like it might even be at the beginning of the semester, if you tell your friend to explain to you, it helps you faster than when it kind of catapults you. That's the word to use. Yeah, it's a mutual relationship. Your friend explained to you, we understand better. As I don't know if you used to feel it, like when you are talking to somebody, you even have better understanding of what you are saying when you talk. When you are explaining things to somebody, you start questioning yourself as you are talking. Probably you are explaining the concepts of the light theory to a friend now. As you are explaining to him, you start questioning yourself. Unconsciously, you start questioning yourself as you are talking. So that questioning makes you get better grasp of what you are explaining. So it's a mutual relationship. As your friend is explaining to you, he is benefiting, and you at the same time you are benefiting. It makes you, even at all, you are, of course you are still going to go do the reading yourself, but it makes you see things at different angles, and it also sets a foundation for you. So don't feel too proud to actually reach out to people that can help you out. So that'll be that about that. Very quickly, what advice would you give to a student who has failed before and is afraid of failing again? And how can students build confidence before entering the exam hall? Well, this is a very, very valid question. It's a very valid question because we have people, especially people in higher levels, 200 level and above, and they've had some set goals earlier, like, oh, this semester I'm going to hit a 5.0. Oh, this semester, with the way I'm going with my trajectory, um, I'm feeling I should have at least a first class. But then at the end of the semester, when the result comes out, you just the result wasn't what you were expecting. We have cases, many cases of people like this. Yeah, we have many. If probably we give people chance to speak, they can start speaking from today, like till tomorrow, because of the experiences they've had. Like, I did this, I did that, but then my result was still very poor. Yeah. So one thing I will start with is this. Failure can be very painful. Can be, believe me, it can be very painful. And at one point or the other, everybody experience failure. Yeah, but the degree of failure might be different for everyone. Yeah. So it can be very painful. But this is it. Don't let failure define you. Yeah, I will start with that. Now, understand, like, meditate on why you fail. That's a very good starting point, and that's a very good ladder to climb. A starting point for, on your ladder to success, on your ladder of success. Like, why do you feel? Ask yourself, meditate on it. Okay, why do I feel I feel this? Could it be I was reading out of context? Could it be I read well, but then I was answering my question out of context? Could it be that I did not manage my time appropriately during exam, and because of that, I did not express myself the way I should? There are many questions you could ask yourself. Like, there are many questions around this reason for failing. It is possible that you read very well, but you don't have time to express yourself in the exam hall. It could be that you have it upstairs, like you have it in your brain, but then you don't know how to bring it, like arrange the words and make it fine. It could be that you 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 because of pressure, because of tension, you mixed up. Okay, what you supposed to write in question 1A, answer 1A, you wrote in answer 2A. Yeah, so all of those things can happen. It could also be that you did not start reading on time. Let's just be honest with ourselves. At times we need to be honest. Most times, not at times, we need to be honest with ourselves. You might actually do not start preparing on time. You might actually, at least for an average person, if you want to be honest and sincere with yourself, before or during before you enter into an example, you can at least you can predict the outcome of the exam. Like if you've read adequately and you've read to the point that you are satisfied, you can somehow extrapolate that, yeah, with this way, at least I should be having 80 over 100. With this way I've read, oh, I don't think I can pass, I can do more than 45. No, if you're honest with ourselves, you should know. You should know. Yeah. So question yourself, why do I fail? Could it be that I did not prepare well? Could it be like I prepared well, but then I did not deliver well? Yeah. And funny enough, there are small things that can cause failure, as small as your handwriting. Yeah. Yeah, as much as your handwriting can cause failure. Probably you have a very good idea upstairs, and then you are writing, you are canceling, you are writing, you are canceling. And when the lecturer want to mark your script, picks up the script, first of all, is already discouraged with the lot of canceling, and it looks like a jargon to him. And then okay, probably the ones that he's able to pick from the lot of cancellations that you've done. Now the writing is not legible enough for him. You know, we are all human. Psychologically, he's already disappointed. Like, who wants this script? Who is this in the first place? Like, you understand? So if you organize your answering, your delivering too, it can also take you a long way. Yeah, it can take you a long way. So that's that about that. Yeah, let me see, get the question once again. Says Okay, yeah. So for those that have failed before, please don't let this define you. Ask yourself, why do I fail? And when you ask yourself, why do I fail? Don't just stop there. One bad thing, even permit me to say, even the Bible says that a righteous man falleth 7 times and riseth again. So it's not about falling, it's about learning from it and rising up. Yeah. So please learn from it and build up on why. That's a very, you can listen to many motivational speakers, you can attend many sessions like this. And if you don't get the reason why you are failing, I'm sorry, you might keep on failing. Like, you might be failing over and over. But if you can get the reason, that alone is a starting point for you. Yeah. So when you get the reason, please prepare towards it. Build on it. Yeah. When you build on it, it develops your confidence and makes you. Everybody have their weak points. Yeah. So when you build on it, some people are very intelligent, but they are very slow in learning. Like, it does not mean like they are not intelligent, but they are slow in learning. So if you know that, oh, probably the reason why I failed is because I know myself, I'm very slow in learning, and I did not have adequate time to read for them. So start reading on time. Like, start reading on time. So those are the ways to build up if you have failed before. Yeah. And you can meet up with friends, meet up with, if you know, like, as you can't overemphasize the fact of knowing reason why. So when you know yourself and be honest, be sincerely honest. If you are not honest with yourself, I'm sorry, that's that's something, such people might not grow. Yeah, if you are not just honest with yourself. So if you're honest with yourself and you know this is the reason why, you can meet up with people that have that quality, and they will take you to where you want to be. Yeah, so that is it. The next question the moderator have here is, how can students, sorry, on stage. Yeah, say, how can students overcome procrastination, especially when exams are close? Well, because of our time, um says, I would just like to answer this on time. Well, procrastination is when you are doing tomorrow what you're supposed to do today. So how can you overcome? First of all, let me be very blunt. If you know what you want to achieve, nobody, especially the question says, how can students overcome procrastination, especially when exams are close? Like, if you know what you are doing, especially when exams are close, I don't think you need anybody to motivate you. I don't think you need. If you need somebody to motivate you, then probably it means you don't really know the grade you want. Because if you know the grade you want, by default, especially close to exam, by default, your brain, your brain will just be working left, right, cooperatively just to make sure you have a good grade. Yeah, so that is that by default. But then, to answer the question generally, to overcome procrastination, actually, you can find a good mentor. It might not your mentor might not be my mentor might not be might be somebody that you are older than self. But since the person have the quality, he can take you by the hands and help you overcome that. That really helps me a lot. It helped me a lot. Yeah, of course, nobody have it all. Yeah, so when you meet up with a mentor, it will help you out in whatsoever you have. And when you have mentors, just like what my mentor usually used to say, or said, if you have somebody you are answering to, it automatically keeps you serious. It makes you speak with your brain that, bro, this is what I need to do. Because you need to give report to the person. Or even after you don't directly need to give a report to the person, like somebody is you're answerable to someone. Yeah, so that's it. Another thing I would say is, one thing is remove distraction. When you remove distraction, procrastination becomes easy for you to overcome. When you remove distraction. And the last thing I would like to say, because of time, there are many things to say, but because of time, I would say that you can also break your reading into sections. Like, probably you have, when you calculate, at times I do it. I can calculate, because the questions were specific about when you are close to exam. So at times I calculate the number of hours that I know I can effectively read before exam. Take for instance, is 8 hours. Yeah, so you might not do the 8 hours on a stretch. When you want to do the 8 hours on a stretch, then you become, like, when you think about, oh, I have 8 hours, God, I don't think I can do this, and you become broken and say, I beg, I go do this thing later. So that brings procrastination. So you can section it. Okay, 3 hours now. I'll take some rest. Maybe I'll rest. I'll rest for 3 hours, then come back. So when you do it like that, it makes you excited about what you want to do. Very quickly, how many questions left now? To the third to the last question, fourth to the last question. How can students balance academics without distraction? This is very important. This is very important. Like, distractions are everywhere. You need discipline. That's the number one thing I would say. You need discipline. And discipline does not just come by default. Discipline comes, one, from your motivation. What grade do I want to have? This will automatically condition you to, because I want to have this particular grade and this score, I need to do this, to do that, to drop away this, to drop away that. That's one, discipline. I would have loved to speak more, like more, but time is not on our side. So you need discipline. And you need to, when I say discipline, unnecessary notification of your on your phone, turn it off. All these things might be little, but they cause big distractions. You have this notification from X, you have this notification from Instagram, you have this notification from WhatsApp, you have, like, everything all coming at once when you are reading. Even although you did not press, well, it will take you a good discipline, a good self-control for you not to press some of those notifications, because these social media have been so designed to get your attention regardless of what you are doing and where you are and who you are. So it will take a lot of discipline for you not to press. So if by default, if by much discipline you were not even able to press, it might distract your mind, it might distract your line of thoughts. You're already thinking, okay, what is so, what is physics, what is chemistry? That was your line of thought before, but then those notifications kept on coming. You might you might be swayed away in thought, even until you don't click it, like, oh, the notification might be about maybe one comedy, and then you start remembering the comedies that you've watched before. And at times you might even smile with your book, like your book is open and you are smiling. At that point, you're already distracted in the mind. So you might turn it off completely. Then when you are done reading, yeah, you can turn it on back, or maybe when you want to take a break. Yeah. So because of time, I would quickly move away from that. So you need to give your academics priority. Yeah. So I will go to the next question. The next question here: what daily habit do top performing students practice consistently? Well, very quickly, top performing students, one, they plan their time very well. They plan their study time. They have the they have timetable. They have reading timetable. At times, it might not be that you write the timetable down. It might be that you have it planned up somewhere here. You might take it up on anywhere you want to write it or plan it out. So you have good reading time, or they have sorry, they plan themselves adequately, and they do have a study timetable. That's one. Two, after they are done reading, one good thing that I a top performing student used to do is they review what they've learned. So it's very important. Just the way meditation is very important, like reviewing what you've read, meditate on it. It will sink down. Interpret it in your own word, interpret it in your own language, like interpret it to something you can. At times when I'm reading, I might connect it to something that I already know. Probably you might connect it with nature, you might connect it with what you like. Like when you do it that way, it will help you to easily remember. You can even explain it to people more than what is written in the textbook when you connect it your own way. So that's what we call understanding and meditating on what you pray. Yeah. So practice past questions. It might not be past questions, just practice questions generally. When you do that, you test yourself, and there's a way it builds you. Yeah. So maintain discipline even when your motivation is low. What I top performing students do is, even when the motivation is low, they still read their books. Yeah. And the last one would be don't give up. Yeah. So that's what high performing student does used to do. And the next question is, should students focus more on understanding or memorization for exams? I think I've answered this already. Yeah, I've answered this already. Like um yeah, it all depends. Memorization is not bad, and to use the blunt word, as I've said earlier, cramming is not bad, but when you over cram, that's when it's bad. Yeah. If there are some things you actually need to memorize, or so to say cram, using the blunt word, is, yeah, you need to, like formulas, of course you need to memorize it. Yeah. And especially those that they will not give to you. Some lecturers give you some formulas, right? Some do not. And there are some words that you need to actually, there are some key points that the examiner is looking at out for to mark. If you don't memorize them, you might not actually be able to pass that way. And yeah, to the last question here is, if you were to give students just one powerful principle that guarantees academic improvement, what would it be? um yeah. So I like the question. It actually says, that guarantees academic improvement. So one thing that you cannot overemphasize is discipline. If no discipline and the passion to succeed, if a student does not have, if they do not, if a student do not have this, there is little or nothing you can actually do for them. Even when you attend sessions like this, interactive sessions like this, or even when you even attend paid academic conferences, if you do not have the discipline, if you do not have the motivation to be successful, it's just like, what good example can I use? It's just like somebody that you are trying all your means, or every means, to convince, like, and the person already have in mind that if you bring heaven down, I don't believe this is this. It will take you a lot of time convincing that person. But then if somebody already have the mind that this is what I want, this is this, and this is that, even without anybody coming to tell you this, coming to push you this, those things, those ideas on how to pass will come naturally. If you have the motivation to succeed, if you have the discipline at the same time, you will know that it is not during exams you need to be going for parties. You will know that it is not during exam period, that you now be playing one game or the other, or doing one investment that at this point will not help you. Yeah. So that is one powerful thing I will emphasize. And to wrap it up, before taking questions on the chat box, yeah, I don't hide it. I don't hide it. Some people might say, bro, like you are too religious. Everything is not this, everything is not that. One thing that will also help, the Bible says, the Bible is not just only uh for praying alone. There are packed up word of wisdom there, that following it alone is something that even great inventors, it has helped them through. So the Bible says that if the Lord does not build the house, the builders build in vain. So if you don't involve God in everything you are doing, praying in everything you are doing, you feel it's just by your own power. One thing is, I believe you should have experienced that before. There was a time I was preparing for exam. I think we were very close to exam period then, and I was struck with sickness. Like I had the passion in me, I had the drive in me, and let me say I have the brain to understand what I will read. But come on, I'm down with sickness. What can I do? Yeah, so you can't predict tomorrow. That is why you can't overemphasize praying too. And praying too can also give you what you can't get on it by your own power. We've had instances when you do not deserve something and then you're able to get it. Yeah, so you can't overemphasize that anyways. And I don't hide that. I know we might be in a professional setting, but then it's something everybody should do. Yeah. So I will just leave it here because of our time. We do not have time on our side. Okay, I can see that we have. Okay, so we just have 5 minutes to bring this session to a close. I'm checking the chat box to see questions there. All right. Okay. It says I'm trying to get something. I'm sorry. Okay. I struggle with reading, and even when I read, sometimes I will forget. Sorry, I'm trying to get it very well. So even when I read, sometimes I will forget the entire things I have read. What can I do, sir? Please. Okay. All right. Well, noted. I hope you guys feel that. All right. I think that's the only question I have here at the moment. Yeah. So, okay, stop the question. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Yeah. So the person said he is struggling with reading, and when he read, he forgets what he has entirely read at times. So the thing is, if you are struggling with reading, I may recommend that you get a reading partner. And mind you, it's not a reading partner that have the same weakness, yeah, or trait. So you can get a reading partner that have the passion to read, that you see this person reads all the time. So when you get that, it's going to sharpen your own reading style too. So it encourages you, and it's just like it pushes you up to uh reading. So it boosts your reading capacity and capability. Yeah, so get a reading partner. A good reading partner is going to help you a lot, and try as much as possible to follow along with what is with his own style of reading. So it's actually will encourage you a lot. Yeah, so that is that about that. Also, another reason why one may be struggling with reading is when um when one feels that yeah, when one feel that there are a lot of things that can actually cause this, but the best is if I can know the reason why you are struggling with reading, it will help me answer the question very specifically. But yeah, but then let me just say that part of the reason why people struggle with reading is they feel that maybe at times they are reading and they are not understanding, and it becomes so boring. Like, am I going to go again to be reading what I don't understand? Yeah. So to solve that, a reading partner will still solve it, while at the same time attending tutorials or having a group of persons to explain some things to you we make the reading more worthwhile, like worthwhile and more interesting. So that is that about that. And at times too, watching videos makes reading more interesting and relatable. So you might also want to try that out for the topics that you can find their videos online. Videos, just a 5 minute video can explain up to 3 pages of a textbook. Yeah, just a 5 minute video can make you understand, so much. So that's another thing to do. And it says when I read, I forget entirely. So the thing is this: at times, by default, subconsciously, our our mind our mind is if we have a lot of things we are thinking. Okay, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, and all at the same time. Even at all, we are reading and it looks like we are getting it. When we stand up from the book, like when we are done reading and we go about our day activities, tendencies are that when we come back again, we will have forgotten entirely what we've read because the brain the brain also has its own capacity. So when you have a lot of things right in there, thinking is not bad, but let me use the word worrying or having a lot of burden in your mind. Like the tendencies are that when you come back, you have forgotten all that you've read because you have a lot of things to handle to process in your mind, and your brain and your mind they are processing a lot. So it might make you forget entirely what you've read. Why at times it could be that one just need a tutorial. Yeah, it could just be like that. When you have a tutorial, then you can now build on the foundation of the tutorial that you've read. Yeah. So that will be it. And I hope I was able to answer that question. Yeah. There are other ways to this, but if I can know specifically the reason why such person is struggling, or the reason why maybe he feels like he's struggling, I can be able to answer more specifically. And also because of our time, we're trying to bring this to a close. And I think it's high time we call it a day. It's high time we call it a day. Um, do Moderator, do you want to say one or two things before we call this a day? Yeah. So just to wrap up, today's session was yeah. So today's session was majorly on how to manage examination pressure. Many persons are writing exam at this time across different schools in Nigeria, and the tension is real, the pressure is getting worse, as we used to say. So yeah, we can always rewatch the video. It will be available on YouTube on this page at any time, just to catch up with what have been discussed. And I believe you are going to have an interesting watch. Yeah. So we're able to address the pressure that comes with examination, and at the same time we had some good uh, crafted out questions by the moderator, and we've been able to at least as much as possible address them. We can't exhaust this, and besides, time is not on our side to keep on talking on these matters. They are real time problem that every student is facing or trying to every student are facing or trying to adjust on. But yes, I believe to a great extent we've been able to do justice to every question tonight, and I want to reach everyone. Okay, so if you have a question, we just have like 1 2 minutes just to quickly pick that before we call it a day. Um, so I believe we've been able to do justice to. Yeah, you can drop a question. You can still pick 1 or 2 questions before we call it a day. Yeah, so but I believe we've been able to do justice to the questions we have at hand. And I really wish everyone writing an exam or that we write an exam success in any kind of exams that they are writing. Yeah, at times the tension might be there and the pressure might be there. Believe me, you might not be able to do away with the tension. Like you might not be able to totally dispel the pressure or the tension, but you can definitely manage them. Yeah, it's uh, all exams might not be written out of ease. Yeah, some might be written in tension, regardless of your preparation. Might have been preparing from the beginning of the semester, might have dotted your i's and crossed your t's, and then the tension is still there. It's quite a normal thing as you know, as humans. Yeah, it's a normal thing. But the thing is, don't let it control you. Just examination is not the end of life. Yeah. So I think with this we call it a day. Thanks a lot, moderator. That's Ayodele Iperipolu for inviting me on this session this evening, and appreciations to everyone that was on the live session. And once again, I wish everyone a successful examination. Thank you very much.